Welcome, Aries, to 2025. Your horoscope highlights the four things you got to know about in order to navigate this year ahead and time your best life. You have an amazing, amazing story going on here. Something not seen in 30 years, that Saturn ingress into Aries plus Pluto in your sign for the first time since 248 years. It's a big deal year ahead. A lot of new energy is playing out for you. We're going to see some big changes going on here because of this energy and how you handle your local neighborhood, your online world, your media world, as well as potentially because of Mars, some major changes in how you relate to your significant long-term relationships and your audience or marketplace. Finally, there's a very rare 1877 event that Saturn, Lord of your sign, is up to with an exalted Venus and the node of fate. And that's really going to increase your financial wellness and change the game of your money. Now, it's not always just as easy as that, but I'm going to show you what I think about it and how you can use this energy in your life. And if you are new to my channel and you're the first time here, welcome. My name is Lori Lothian, and I'm using the Western Tropical Zodiac and the whole sign house system. Now, I love astrology to help you navigate your life, kind of like time your best life is my little lingo here. And if you really want to time your best life, one way to do that is to get my 2025 2-hour video, which has everything broken down by quarter and goes into a lot of content about what's happening in your sign next year that I can't cover in a 20 to 30-minute YouTube video. So that is available down below for sale. It never goes on YouTube. That is my fundraiser for my channel. You can get your individual sign or the all signs bundle. I'll have a ho Santa Claus sale on, check below, or New Year's sale, just so you can get a less than regular price during the Christmas season, but check it out below. And that helps me buy ring lights, time stampers, and all of that stuff, new laptop, which I desperately need. This is an old MacBook Air. It's going on 4 years old and it's starting to fail. And so I really need some help on buying new equipment. So if you want to help me grow and not have to just throw money at me, like I'm not begging you for money, I'm just asking for some help. I want to tell you Aquarians a story because we're under the influence of Pluto. And I want to tell you a story about what happened to me today. I went for a walk and I walked by this little Tibetan shop that I've never, ever gone into. And, I can't count the times I might have walked by it. And it's kind of cool, but I got this Tibetan like yak wool thing. And why did I get it? You're probably, why did she get a yak wool? Because I'm always cold. Vancouver has really, really, really bad weather, but it's more important. Follow your instincts because Aquarius, you're moving into a realm of life because there's something else I got there, a really cool book that I think is meant for me to read about enlightenment. You're coming into a time in which Pluto, a big transpersonal, transformative, titanic evolutionary force for humanity, wants to purpose you. You're on the lead goose for humanity. This is your time. I don't care if it's your sun, moon, or rising. Those three are all important. Your sun sign is your career and purpose. Your rising is everything about you. Your moon is your home. It could be your body. It's like, think of it this way. If this is a simulation, right? Your avatar is Aquarian rising, just like I'm Spock. I often think like Spock. I was always a mad scientist nut. I love sci-fi. And I think I'm very logical. But then my sun, which is, I don't know what yours is, but it's the sun in my chart. It can represent the character, the actor, the game player, not the avatar, not the role being played, the essential core nature of who you are, the flavor of God. I'm a fire flavor. There's, lots of flavors, but there's 4 elements: air, earth, water, and fire. And there's 12 signs. What's your particular flavor? And of course, your natal chart is your most unique signature. And then the moon can be about your mother, your home, but also your emotions. How do you feel about your life? Quite often, we don't realize that we have a life and then we have what we think and feel about our life. And that's not who we are. That's something off to the side, what your own opinion of your own life. This is so bad. This is so good. I hate this. I can't deal. Resistance is futile. Krishnamurti was asked how he was so enlightened, and he told everybody, I don't mind what happens. Byron Katie, who's enlightened, says, I don't argue with reality anymore. So one of the things I want to encourage you to do as you move through 2025 is to step into this new role that you've been asked to play, because Pluto is pretty well not too concerned with what you want. And Pluto is going to use you for what the divine forces greater than you in a transpersonal way are trying to purpose you for in this lifetime. So it's a bigger force than your unique individual, petty, maybe desires, hopes, and wants. And so I'm going to start showing you the chart as we go through Pluto and Aquarius and what that very important event is for you this year, especially January 3rd. and April 27th. We're going to talk about Mars as well as he navigates through your sixth house. And that's going to mean very big changes to your life that you haven't seen since 1977, 78. And we're going to go to the Saturn and the double Saturn story. So that's the order. Let's pull the chart up before I do pull the chart up. If you are watching me in the premiere, I don't know how I'm premiering this. If you're watching this at any point on YouTube and you want to hit the like and subscribe button, that's just a fantastic little button because it helps me grow and it gives me that chance to reach that 100,000 subscribers. I'm recording this in early December and I'm getting close to 93,000 subscribers. So give me a chance to reach my goal as well. Let's see if Pluto cares about it. Oh, by the way, I have a new thing on Substack, the Pluto Chronicles. If you're an Aquarius listening, you must go over there. It's free. I'm covering every single thing Pluto does in the next 20 years as he moves through the sign of Aquarius, because I'm one of you. I've already said, did I bury the lead? I'm one of you. Okay. I'm an Aquarius rising. Okay, let's go ahead and look at the sky. So let's show you the sky and we'll talk about the 4 most important things to pay attention to. Well, it'd help me if I was in your sign, wouldn't it? Okay. So Aquarius, this is you. This is the Aquarius glyph on this side of the sky. And you can see that Pluto's at 1 degree, moving direct in your sign. He just arrived here November the 19th. It's a big deal because he won't leave until 2044. And this means that you are under Plutonian deputyship. He's the sheriff. You're this deputy sheriff, I suppose. And you've got something you're supposed to do that's bigger than you over the next 20 years. So take a deep breath. And it can be anything. It doesn't have to be rich and famous. I mean, there's just a big soul assignment that your role is now up for grabs. You're here to do something. Plutonian can make you rich, can make you powerful, but could also give you some kind of assignment, mission impossible or possible. Now with Pluto here, you can see that across the way is Mars, and we're on January the 5th. Now, this is an intense energy that's really acting up. I can't describe it to you until we really parse it because we haven't had this in our lifetimes. And, if you want to go back to January 3rd, for example, let's go back to January 2nd. Let's go back to January 1st. So I'm in Vancouver, Canada, and you can really feel that beating down upon you, right? As we begin the month of January, already back in December 30th, Happy New Year's, 2 degree Mars, 1 degree Pluto. It's really intense. You're feeling it already as the holiday season is underway. And then it continues, and I'll tell you what it might mean. And then by the time we get here, it's pretty exact on January 2nd, 3rd. Mars is about decisions, actions, motivation, willpower, movement. Mars is going to have you cut, sever, or end if something needs to be snipped. This is Mars in the house of long-term committed marriages and love stories. Now, your partner or you could go into mortal combat, so be really careful the last week of December and the first week of January when this action is very intense up until January the 6th. And then Mars will backtrack into your 6th house. Now, Mars has been in Leo from November the 4th. And this means that if you go back to November the 4th, and you track all the way through until December the 6th, you were taking some actions in that window of time. You were moving in a certain direction, or your partner was, because sometimes the 7th house is our significant business or love partner. It's also the house of the clients, the audience, the marketplace that we serve. It is 10th house from the 10th. In this regard, I'm an Aquarius rising. Let me use me quickly as an example. Having Mars going November the 4th, through my 7th house of audience and public was Troll City, especially in direct motion November 4th to December 6th, mostly because of the election content. But I've never seen such vitriol and I've never seen such intensity around mean-spirited, ad hominem, negative comments on my channel. Now, you may not have a channel, but you might have gotten into difficulty with a friend, a flashpoint, or a significant friend, or a significant relationship in your life. This energy backtracked and wanted to subdue itself. And it went backwards and said, that was intense. Let me go back. It says Mars on December 6th through to January 6th. And I'm going to trundle into the 6th house of health and work. Now, before I get to that 6th house transit, just remember this is a flashpoint. And around January 2nd, 3rd, I'd say first, second, third, be very careful, because this is where a fracture of some sort could happen in a significant relationship in your life. So if you're not willing to give that relationship up, please tread lightly. That said, Pluto will do the same intense fracture capability on April the 27th or so, when he once again is going to be opposite Mars from the sign of Leo. So keep that in mind, January 3rd and April 27th, give or take a week or so on either side. You're in some serious turbulent waters regarding long-term committed love and relationships, or your partner is aiming very much a sword at you, which means that they may be wanting to go to battle, to have arguments, to have strife or conflict, or they may be also thinking that they want to end the relationship. Now, Mars can simply mean separation from the significant other, and it doesn't have to be harsh. And so Mars here, for example, has separated me from my man who's back in the United States because he's not Canadian. And so that separation happened after November 4th, when Mars entered into my 7th house. So you see the examples there, right? When Mars is moving into your natal 6th house, though, this is a place he was already traveling September the 4th, all the way through to November 4th. And I don't know how you handle it, but I started a new dietary style called the AIP protocol. That's because here he's going to try in the house of his joy to improve your health. Do you need surgery? Do you need penetrating objects like needles for blood tests? Do you need? What is it you need to improve your health, including new exercise patterns, including dietary restrictions and changing your diet, because he trines the 2nd house of what you put in your mouth. Now, Mars here is also going to make you more ambitious about your work, and you might be a workaholic. That happened to me September and October as I prepared my 2025 All Signs Bundle content. And did I even introduce that to you at the beginning? Yes, I did. And so when Mars is retrograding, he's going to go back and he's going to say, January 6th to February 23rd, let me reconsider this. How are we going to do it differently? I'm going to go back and do this food style, but with this adjustment. I'm going to work hard, but not as hard. I'll figure something else. I'll go back and work on projects, and work opportunities from my past can come to me, and projects from the past can be revivified or renewed in some way. When we see Mars here moving direct on the 23rd of February, this means work projects and health matters are moving forward. And the good news is, a teaser for you, Jupiter next summer 25, enters your health house and work house and gives you blessings there. So even if Mars causes an injury, heat, rashes, temporary challenges to your health, which he could do that all the way through till April the 18th. On April 18th, he leaves your 6th house. Whew. And from April 18th to June 17th, he travels your marriage and relationship and audience and marketplace house. And so we'll see how you go forward on things that you had to go backwards from. The backwards things that you're reconsidering. December 6th to January 6th can now move forward in that very relational house. Now, I mentioned that Jupiter will be here next year. We're not covering that in any depth here. That's in my longer report about how to handle that transit and some of the ways it ties into eclipses for you. But it just means that work and health matters shall be greatly improved. And you may even be able to get a pet out of that, or a divinely orchestrated rental opportunity for a property. But that's coming in the summer of next year. Moving forward, or 2025, sorry, I'm still recording in 24. All right, so I told you, you're being purposed by Pluto, and you don't have any understanding, nor do I, of what that could look like, because it take 22 years to fulfill. 20 years, I should say. And ultimately as well, if you're like a 0 degree to 5 degree or 6 degree Aquarius sun, moon, and rising, you get the most feel of this in the next 2 to 3 years, right? And later on, the late degrees like 28, 29, Aquarius get the feel of what the frig this is about more intensely closer to 2038, 39 to 44. So all said and done, remember, your own sun or moon or rising may not be directly impacted at this time, but still Pluto's entered the house, and we all know the feeling of a new energy in our house, right? If somebody comes into our house that's never been there, and even if we're in a different room, we feel their energy in our house. You know what I'm saying? So there's a new guy in the house, Pluto. I covered Mars. That was number 2. Drum roll. Number 2 was Mars and what he was up to in your 6th house and your 7th house. He was intricate to Pluto because they're opposite each other. So it was kind of a 2-for deal. Now, the third thing that I want to talk about is extremely, extremely rare. So I'm not sure exactly what to make of this. I'm going to give you I'm going to jump our chart ahead. No, I'm not. I'm going to leave it like this because it's simpler. But down here in your second house, you will see Venus exalted, Saturn in where he's been traveling since 2023, Neptune, but also you will see this. Watch what I'm going to add into the mix for you. You will see that this North Node is about to enter into your second house of money, earnings, resources, and possessions. And because of that, let me move it back to your sign. See, that's what happens when you advance the chart, which is why I can't do this in all my videos. You are having an experience that hasn't happened since 1877. And that's because the North Node will perfectly conjunct, it's called a partile conjunction, will conjunct the North Node Saturn. Now, this is a money house. And this is also with an exalted Venus. And although in January, this is here, Venus will retrograde into go forward into Aries, come back. The point is that Venus will be back here in the fourth week of April, the last week of April, 2025. Venus will be here, exalted, co-joined with Saturn and the North Node in a triple conjunction. That's going back to, I think, 500 years before Jesus was born or something. So it was very, 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 very rare. And this triple conjunction is good and bad because it's traditionally, like Indian astrology or even Hellenistic would say that Rahu, the North Node, inflames Saturn, volumes up a malefic planet. But you are the exception to the rule. And why? Because Aquarius, he is the Lord of your sign. And no matter where he goes, he's doing his best for you. Ostensibly, if you were born in the nighttime when the sun's below the horizon, you might find him more difficult than a day baby. That's an old concept from Hellenistic astrology, but who knows? I'm a night baby and I've never had a problem with Saturn. But Saturn's in my first house when I'm born, so I really like Saturn. But I'm just going to say, in general, the Lord Saturn as the Lugna Lord, or the planetary guiding planet for your life, is not going to really try to wreak havoc in your finances. Rather, bring sagacity, wisdom, structure, and form. Exalted Venus, an exalted money goddess in an earnings and possessions house, to increase your financial well-being and volume up North Node. Neptune in the mix could indicate your money dreams are coming true. It could be your money dreams are coming true, and you're going to still have Jupiter in the winning the lottery house, your fifth house. So it could be that sometime like in the second half of the year, it could also happen anytime, because you see, Venus doesn't leave. She's in and out of your second house. Oh my God. Let me take a look at her transit. Venus will be in the sign of, do I have that chart handy? She's going to be in Aries from February 4th. Okay. So let's go January to February 4th, Venus Venus exalted in your second house, really good for lottery tickets, winning the lottery, money, luck, and good news with money. Okay. So you've got that till February the 4th. The next thing I'm looking at is you have her, then she moves into Aries on February 4th. And then she is going to retrograde at 2 degrees of Aries. And we're not going to cover that today. That's in my deep dive because that's the Venus star point in your third house and it matters. And it's very important that you know all of this because it's going to be game-changing stuff. And then what happens next? Give me a split second. Then back on March the 27th to April the 30th, she's in your money house. April 26th, 27th to April the 30th, Venus is going to be in your second house. And let's jump ahead to this triple conjunction. And I'll show it to you. How would you use this triple conjunction? That's a bit better question. Well, you can take some bold risks with your finances, with an exalted Venus. I mean, she's over the top. She's up in her highfalutin. I've got this. I'm the boss of me. I've got everybody going. I'm a diva. She's a diva. Okay, let's call her the diva. And we get to that conjunction. I apologize, roughly anyway. There you see it forming on the 20th. Oh, I think I have a date mistake then. She's back here already. Okay, guys, it's not so much about exact dates where she is. It's real, like really like not, don't get fixated on this, okay? Don't get fixated on this. All right. It's more important to simply say you're having a lot of money luck in 2025, or money expansion or money growth with discipline, perseverance. Saturn and Venus. Oh, I'm not in your sign again because I did try to do my best to move the darn chart. I'm just going to stop even doing that because it's frustrating as a astrologer to continually have to try to pin Aries back to the beginning of the story. But Aquarius. So this triple conjunction, she's going to be at 26 degrees. So if we move her forward by a day, she's probably there by now. And there we go, coming up. There we go. So we're seeing her on the 22nd of April, this triple conjunction, Saturn and the North Node are together, more exact, closer to the 25th, 6th, I think. But the three planets are in a co-joining the last 10 days of April. And what that can indicate is super powerful, destined, fated expansions of your money, earnings, and prosperity story. And it's what you make. It's not what, except unless you have a fated contract with the divine to win the lottery. Jupiter is able to do that with you. So there is this possibility, sure, of a lottery win. Okay, I'm just going to say it, but don't bet the house on this. This is general bell curve astrology. Know your chart. People born with Jupiter, Uranus in the 11th house win lotteries. Okay, we don't know your chart, but get the idea, right? It's fortunate. It's very, very fortunate, because Saturn will help you structure. Venus, Saturn together is like enduring financial success, lasting, an edifice for financial success, serialized or sequelized, financial success. And Neptune will be with this stellium as it's forming, but then Neptune crosses over into your third house. Neptune rules videography, storytelling, Hollywood, glamour. And because he's in the hot seat of the second house, and then he crosses over on March the 30th, he does have some connection perhaps to making money through Neptunian things. And this is also the social media world. All right. So keep in mind, it's a deep, profound, destined Coolio expansion of your wealth and your prosperity. I would say that is true. And it may be shocking and sudden. Why would it be shocking and sudden? Because of Uranus. Uranus is on Elgol, the wealth star. He's going direct in the fourth house of home, property, land, and real estate. You could get this January, early February. It could jolt you again as another luck round in the last 10 or so days of April. But look at how this plays out as a wedge. Unexpected, surprising increase financially. If there was no exalted Venus with Saturn North Node, I'd be a little bit more worried. Okay. Now, you're probably also going to want to beautify yourself under this energy. Saturn is the elder, the aged one. Venus is the diva, the beauty. So it could end up looking like you're going to pursue some kind of cosmetic procedures, or you look into, veneers or some facial rejuvenation. Some of you may do that, or new cosmetics just to make your face look younger. But the destined part is what's more interesting to me. Why is it so destined? Fated cosmetic surgery that you never look back after that, right? So keep that in mind. Now, finally, by the way, if you think the aliens aren't real, you're wrong, or the UFOs and all that stuff aren't going to happen this year. It's in all my, if anybody, the Aquarians, who are basically Star Trek, walking Star Trek units, should dive with this. But this is Urania, the god of outer space, the muse of outer space, astrology and astronomy, but it's really about outer space. And Urania is sitting with Pluto next year as well in April. So if you've always wanted to see the UFOs or the aliens, here we come. And then you could see Mars is building up to this opposition to Pluto. And that will, I think, if my memory serves me, be very exact around the 27th. And I mentioned it earlier in the intro. Yes, there it is, around the 27th. So again, could have a major falling out with a significant other. So be cautious. Finally, Saturn will move into the sign of Aries. You haven't seen that for 30 years. So it's a big, big deal. That's back in like 93, 94, 95. What does it actually mean? Well, Saturn is the guy who's going to give you the structure, discipline, endurance, and form, the marathon runner here in the third house. He is also a master of things. He's the sage-like wise one, but masterful authority. This is the third house of writing, communicating ideas, marketing, selling, media, and social media. If that is a part of your wheelhouse, this is extraordinarily positive because he's also holding hands with Neptune. When does he move in here? I bet you're wondering. Saturn will enter this part of your sky on the 25th of May and not leave till September 1st. Neptune will be there before him. Saturn Neptune means make your dreams real. Have you always wanted to write a book? Have you always wanted to start a YouTube channel? Have you always wanted to create your website for your entrepreneurial business? Entrepreneurial businesses are favored by Jupiter to launch an entrepreneurial business before June the 9th. And with this energy of Saturn and Neptune starting on May 24th, May 25th to June the 9th is exceptionally awesome launchpad time for something important in your online social media, writing, creating, thinking, ideating house. This is going to benefit you if you also want to think about it as how you can have structure and discipline in how you are going to do your writing and your online stuff, right? It's maybe you'll have a massive schedule. This is what it looks like. Let's try to move him forward. And yes, I know we'll lose the wheel, but we can do it for fun, right? Just get him into the narrative. And that's around the last week of May. And we'll move our time back, and you get you Aquarians back on the eastern horizon. So there you see Saturn and Neptune co-joining as he enters into your sky May 26th, and he will be there, as I said, till September 1st. Use it or lose it, but he's back next February of 2026, not 25. This is 25. May 24th to September 1st. He's back again. Okay, he's back again next year. Now, one downside is problems with a sibling, particularly younger aunt, uncle, cousin, niece, or nephew. Saturn can bring constriction and restraint. It could also be a little bit of a curtailing of travel. This is a travel house, and maybe that would indicate that, May, June, July, August, you're not traveling very much. Travel seems curtailed. You might be staying home a bit. When I talk about siblings, it's most likely the younger sibling, but also Saturn here can give difficulties for elders in the old aunts, uncles, cousins, nieces, and nephews, extended kinfolk. And they may be also having some kind of challenge during the summertime. With Neptune, it could be honestly anything. It could be a drug challenge, an addiction, a mental health challenge. It could get depressed or something like that. And you can see that Venus is hanging out here with Chiron. This is because of a very long story of her retrograde, and then she comes back. She's spending a lot of time in your second and third house. For you Aquarius are writers or artists or make money in creative online media, this is positive. But you can see she's with Chiron as the ingress. It's almost like healing a values wound or a self-worth wound or what you desire wound coming up. Yet when I talked about siblings, Chiron Venus could be a challenge with a female sibling in your family of origin as a possibility as well, or female cousin or aunt or something like that. And their health and literally a health challenge, right? One more thing I'd say with Saturn here, it's a test run for next year. So when we get to next year, you'll know more about what it's for. But with eclipses moving through your second house, including in the fall, this is an indication of destined expansion of your income, your earnings, and your resources, worldly success, financial success. How would you know if this is true? Go back in time and ask yourself, what were you doing in 2006, 7, and 8? Did you increase your financial resources in any meaningful way? I did. I sold a house. Second house is possessions, and I made a lot of money in selling that house at that time, a lot of money, enough to live off of it for a decade while I studied with shamans around the world and spent time getting enlightened the best I could. So you could have this infusion of money again. Some of you may not have had that. Your chart is individual, but the North Node eclipse cycle is trying to expand your resources, your havingness, your possessions. You could possess a home because Uranus is the shock and awe and algol, a well star in the house of home, and money and possessions are the second. So whoo, something could go on that you could possess a home. And I'm only backdropping that because Saturn will go back to your second house. He will go back there September 1st till next February. So there's still some structure, there's still some discipline, there's still some hard work you're going to have to engage in to really consolidate this financial experience, which looks to me like gains. Okay. Sextile from Uranus is not negative. Exalted Venus is positive. I'm going to go with the positive for all of us Aquariuses in this story. Now, finally, if you don't have grandchildren this year, you might get some. Or if you want to get pregnant and you're of a childbearing age, you or your partner, Jupiter's transit through your ninth house can do that for you. He does not leave your fifth house. Jupiter does not leave your fifth house till June the 9th. And then, of course, I told you, he blesses your work and health. So we're going to leave that at that. Aquarius, go ahead and get that all signs bundle or your individual sign, because in that, you're going to get so much more detail than I could possibly cover here. And, quarter by quarter breakdowns with timestamps underneath, audio, video downloads. You can just download the audio and take it with you and listen to it when you're walking, 2-hour video, but you can listen to the segment you want. You could download the video and put it on your device when you're flying. You can get the link that's unlisted and watch it at home on your computer with Wi-Fi. And there's a PDF guidebook that I wrote just for every sign. Each guidebook's about 8 pages long. So there's a lot of content for the mere price of, check the description box below for the ho, ho, ho sale. It's not even Santa. It's Santa. It's kind of like Christmas, New Year's kind of vibrational frequency. I hope you guys are going to do great in this year ahead. We are the water bearers for humanity. We're going to pour the waters out. Hopefully they're not torrents and tidal waves. Hopefully we're going to pour out something much more healing for the world. Thanks for listening. Ciao, ciao.